This is Marissa Tam, writer of number 59, The Apothecary. You're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Be quick today, Aaron. I don't have the luxury of time. Welcome to the Blacklist Exposed. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. And this week, we're trying to find out who poisoned Mr. Red Reddington. We're trying to find out who killed him and where and with what. Thanks for joining us this week as we discuss number 59 on the Blacklist, Apothecary, which aired February 23rd, 2017, and was written by Marissa Tam and directed by Michael Casilio. Ooh, I got it. Show notes and other intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
I think Michael would not agree with you.
That I did not get it correct?
No, not at all. You never do.
No.
No.
You will hear a lot of Clue references this episode. Okay, I want to, before we get into everything, I want to take a second and give a shout out to the writers and showrunners behind The Blacklist. If you guys remember, about a month and a half ago, we talked about Lulu Mlen, who was a faithful, avid fan of both The Blacklist and The Blacklist Exposed. I became friends with her through the podcast, and she's been going through a hard time. She had an illness, and we asked you to keep her in your good graces, and then unfortunately she passed away. Very sad story, and a very avid fan. I mean, she loved The Blacklist. I think she had James Spader all over her wall, everything. And, we had mentioned it to the showrunners, and not and a lot of fans did after that as well. And not in some way, but we can get something out of it. It's just more, just so you know, this was a really devoted fan. She was a huge, huge member of the entire Blacklist community, very active in the message boards and whatnot, Twitter. And we thought they might do something. They might do a nice little nod to her. Never, ever, ever did I expect that they would name an entire character after her, Lulu Mlen, in this episode. Nor did I think that character would end up basically saving Red's life to a degree. I think, often in the world of fandom, sometimes different shows treat fandom differently, I think. And some shows don't appreciate the fans as much as other shows do. And The Blacklist is bigger than a lot of shows. And to do that, to pay homage to this woman in this way, I think is noble. I think it's amazing. It just melted my heart. I literally shouted and jumped from my couch and just thought, wow, what a beautiful moment for fans of the show. And obviously they can't do that for every fan that's going through anything. So, I mean, it's just a nice little, I think, acknowledgement from them that they appreciate the fan community and those that are devoted to it. Really, really touched me in a special way.
Yeah, I was shocked. I mean, when Lulu came up on the screen at first, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And then they actually used her full name. I thought that was going above and beyond. So that was really, really classy. And I'm just super excited for the fans that knew Lulu and appreciated everything she did and contributed to the fan community. Just to have that one last special piece of Lulu's memory with the show, I think it's just fantastic. Great job by everyone involved that made that happen.
As someone who did know Lulu, that really touched me. And she often debated a lot of our debates on this show. She was very passionate, very nice woman, and went through a really hard time. But my God, I can't imagine if she would be wherever she is, looking down and seeing that. I can't imagine how touched she would be. So thank you guys. That was a real unnecessary and beautiful thing you did.
Kudos all around. Well, today on the Blacklist Exposed, we'll do things pretty much the same way. We'll cover off on our profiling question from last week, go into our analysis of the Apothecary, and then vote on Red's rhetoric and take your thoughts on the episode. After that, if you want to stick around, we'll give you our quick take on the premiere of the Blacklist Redemption, initial thoughts, flow of the show, character, style, music, everything we usually do. And if you don't want to hang around for that, that's cool. We won't be offended at all. But remember, we're friends with Dembe.
If you think he did it. Maybe he didn't do it.
Don't know.
All right. Also, unfortunately, due to some previously scheduled engagements, we will not be with you each week for the run of Redemption. I know, sad face. Basically, I'm going to be at South by Southwest. I couldn't do it if I wanted to. There's just no way. Way too much to do.
I'm going to be floating on a boat, so I can't do it either because I have no internet.
Aren't you going to Hawaii or something?
Yeah, it's a cruise, 7-day cruise around Hawaii, all islands.
Are you going to go see where Lost was filmed and stuff? You're a nerd.
I'm so excited. Super excited.
I'm going to go to Hawaii and see filming locations.
I'm also going to the Jurassic Park waterfalls, so yes, I am actually.
Are you really?
I am. I'm going to take the helicopter and land right in front of the sucker and get some pictures.
Oh, been there, man. It's awesome. It's absolutely. You're going to Kauai then, right?
I am. I'm going to all of them.
Mm-hmm. Kauai is the prettiest. You know, they can't, little fun fact nobody cares about. In Kauai, you can't build a building over 3 stories because they do that to keep trade winds or something and keep just that old school Hawaii flavor, that old blue Hawaii Elvis Presley. You know what I'm saying? Thank you very much. No?
No.
All right. I thought it was amazing. Well, anyway, we'll be back April 15th. Yes, that is 1 week before Blacklist returns to redeem ourselves with a full season 1 analysis of Redemption as a whole. Think of it like a reaction cast to a binge watch of Stranger Things, only with Famke.
Yes, everything is upside down over on that show.
You're so funny. You make jokes.
So go ahead, watch Redemption, take your notes, collect your theories. We'll dissect it all. Again, that's April 15th. And you, yes, you, that's listening via the website, and anyone else that hasn't yet subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do that by downloading our Blacklist Exposed apps for iOS and Android, or by using a dedicated podcast player on your mobile device or tablet, such as Overcast, Pocket Cast, Downcast. Anything with cast in it really is good. So just grab those things, and then, because we might have some special episodes during the break here. You never know who might pop by, and you don't want to miss them. So if you're subscribed, you'll get them. If not, so sad for you.
No soup for you.
No. All right, let's get into it. Last week, we asked you to answer the profiling question of the week, which was, why does Cooper want main justice's approval? Some really interesting answers this week.
Do I start this? Do you start this? What are we doing here, Troy? Do we have a plan?
Yes, you can go first, because I'm just curious to see, because you have not read these yet.
I have not. I always intentionally do not read them until we do the show, because then sometimes I'm taken by surprise. Wendy says, is it Panabaker, the head chief? Well, if she is, she hates Red, so perhaps that's why he needs to, what's that word?
Mollify?
Mollify her. Okay, it was very small. Troy, I have very small hands, apparently. Other than that, he wants to make sure the post office stays open. He's secure in his job. Or he has or knows something about Red and needs the team intact. Okay, Wendy, you just picked everything. Really.
Everything she could. Suzanne said, I think there may be something going on between Panabaker and Cooper. Wow, wow. Cooper never specified who the people were that loved him, and he was going home to the previous episode as well. Also, there was some talk about Panabaker regarding a poker game that Cooper was going to be missing because of a case. I suggest that they have a relationship outside of work.
Tori says, because he is sleeping with her. Wow. Well, she gets right to the
point.
Yeah.
I wonder if the higher-ups, this is from Sheila, I wonder if the higher-ups are angry that Red got Liz's badge back for her. I'm guessing the post office is under scrutiny because of that.
Scrutiny?
Scrutiny.
I don't think that's not how this word works. No. Wendy says maybe they threatened to shut down the task force. I could see that.
It could be. No season 5 renewal news yet. Barbara said,
"Don't make fans panic. Like, they got a long time to go before the show comes back.
They do.
I'm sure it's fine.
We're all wanting it though so badly." Barbara said, "I think Cooper has to answer to Laurel Hitchens, who is behind bringing Red down. She doesn't really want the FBI to help Red figure out who is trying to destroy him. She's probably getting orders from members of the Cabal."
Jennifer Johnson wrote a book report. Personally, I think Red and Cooper are in cahoots and probably have been for a very long time. Cooper has allowed Red to get the upper hand until this point, and now, to make it seem more plausible, Cooper is trying to turn the tables, kind of throwing Red to the wolves with the intent of getting main justice into his corner, or at least making them believe he is with them, even though he is still building a master takedown scheme with his partner in crime, Raymond Reddington. Everything else is a conspiracy theory on the show. Why not make it that the head of the snake really belongs to Panabaker. Look at all the people she silently diffused in fighting for Liz's freedom without anyone being any of the wiser. Can I just give props to myself for reading that in a dramatic fashion without ever reading it before? I'm pretty proud of myself.
You can do animated film, apparently. Bridget,
nobody wants to see this face.
That's for sure. Bridget Davies said, I think he is getting pressure from Justice for more arrests and names from Red's information, or they'll shut down the operation. No one in this whole process has been too enthusiastic about allowing Red to be involved with the FBI. Instead of arresting him, they are helping him with his criminal empire to facilitate getting other baddies off the map. Maybe Cooper, as the captain of the post office, doesn't want to be left holding the bag when all is said and done.
Thank you. Those were all great, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks as always. What's going to be the question next week? I'll let you pick it this time.
What do you mean, murder? Sorry. It's, do you believe it was Dembe? Do you believe? I know we're led to believe it was Dembe, but do you actually believe it was Dembe that poisoned the scotch in the broom that I don't know the name of?
Yeah, I don't. I was trying to get it off the screen capture off the bottle. If it would have been McCutcheon's, it would have been awesome. Yeah.
Or was it somebody else? Did they use the secret passage through the conservatory? I think it's possible.
We got 8 weeks before we come back, so let's add a second question there. I'm curious what medical genetic condition they targeted for Red. That's an interesting question in my
That's
head.
true. Yeah, we didn't get an answer to that, did we?
We did not, because it's somebody that knew about his medical condition, something about his genetic makeup. Lots of good ones.
Absolutely. All right.
With that, before Aaron realizes he was secretly poisoned, let's get to this week's case profile.
Apothecary. Wait, you poisoned me? You son of a bitch. Okay, Apothecary.
Let's be clear. It's the Apothecary. It's like the Ohio State University. Okay. The is important.
That's true. They do always do that whenever football games are on. That's true.
The poison will kill you before this show ends.
You know what? Maybe. Really, the story revolves around Red almost dying and realizing he must now solve his own murder.
You're going to do that all episode, aren't you?
I might. I was going to do it in my Wadsworth voice, but I can't keep that up for an entire podcast.
Especially when you're choking on your own saliva.
I feel like I was. Now I think I'm worried that I am going to die. So thanks for that.
Sure.
But aside from that, the other portion of the episode, the task force is searching for the Apothecary, an assassin who crafts undetectable poisons for his targets by using their unique genetics against them. Red believes a criminal named Panetti, who built a criminal empire around a construction business, can lead them to our blacklister.
Panetti, is he a criminal? He's just a businessman.
Well, theoretically. He's hypothetically a criminal.
There you go.
Sorry. He hasn't been convicted. I should be respectful of the process.
Yeah, we don't want to be stereotyping like mobsters and things like that. People come knocking on your door.
Yeah, well, this guy, he uses honey and sweetheart a lot. It's going to get him killed.
I was waiting for it to punch to the throat, maybe.
Oh, I'm just sitting there going, man, cut him. Cut him. God. Anyway, so Panetti says he has nothing to do with it. Or did he? I got nothing to do with it. I got nothing to do with this, man. I got nothing to do with crime. You know what I mean? I'm clean.
That's Aaron. Like that. That's Aaron, by the way.
No, that was Panetti. That was
no. That was
showed up.
That was you mocking people always being Italian and being a part of the mob.
That's what they come. That's how they always sound when I hear them. The post office finds money that connects the task force to. What did you think? They would think it was you. You didn't want the letters or what?
I don't want any letters. Just email. Otherwise, I got to shred them and burn them and.
I kind of wish we would get a letter. I haven't had a letter in years. Years. Somebody takes the time. It feels like it's more personal, doesn't it? When they write a letter out as opposed to an email.
But we got the nice Christmas card. That was a letter.
That's true. We did. Yeah, that's true. Okay, the post office finds money that connects the task force to the Atlantic. Oh, you sons of bitches. The Atlantic Coast Lepidopterology.
You did it! Yay!
Mom!
I swear they put that in there just so you had to read it on the podcast.
Oh, I feel bad for Amir, man. And he got it. He did it like 3 times, and you could tell he was sounding it out phonetically. So as he did it,
Lepidopterology.
Yeah, lepidopterology,
which is actually
times.
It's actually a thing. It's a real thing about researching butterflies and moths.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I'm kind of bummed that at the end of this episode, nobody put the lotion in the basket, but whatever. So in turn, it leads us to Hello Dolly, and Helen Dolly is her name, who was put in a coma. Hello, my Dolly. Hello, my Dolly. Who she put in, I'm just off the rails. I'm sorry.
Holy cow.
She was put in a coma by her greedy husband and his girlfriend. Girlfriend knew about it. Dum Dum confesses about it and doesn't think anything should happen to her. Well, I mean, I didn't want any part of it, so I'm cool. And Wrestler just throws it back at, well, that makes you an accessory, Dum Dum. I wish he would have said Dum Dum.
Yep. It would have been great.
Yeah. What do you think about this whole, because, I mean, they are trying to get the apothecary to save Red to an extent, but I don't see a whole lot of urgency from anyone except Aram. He seems to be the most sympathetic to Red's condition.
Oh, no, you can't be dying. I love it.
Am I wrong? I mean, it really felt like, you know what? We'll see if we can find the guy.
Liz didn't even seem excited. I think this is the only guy that's left that knows anything about your past, and she didn't even seem very excited to get moving on this case.
I think man, I'm really close. I could really wrap this whole problem I got up pretty quick.
You want this toxin? Tell me what you know.
Well, this leads us to the apothecary, who uses a weaponized allergen to trigger a reaction in Helen, the same type of thing that was used on Red. His name is Asa Hightower, and he is creepier than Professor Plum. He keeps his wife tied to a bed with a string bell and an inhaler filled with toxins while he tries to impregnate her. Ugh. How did you feel about this dude?
I'm not saying that I condone this in any way, shape, or form, but
oh boy, wherever you're going is not going to end well.
But thank you, Blacklist people and writers, for at least making it his wife. Because if it was just a random kidnapping and he does this to like random people to impregnate himself across the world, kind of like the Cypress Agency back in the day, that would have been just over the top. At least it was his wife. But I think that also makes it even worse to some degree. It just was, all kinds of just, ugh. That's what I kept feeling. I mean, especially when he laid down in bed next to her and wiped the tear away from her face. It was, ugh.
I'm just going to let you talk and keep trying to dig yourself out of that hole you put yourself in. It's good. It's bad. It's awful. I don't care who it was. I just don't. I think it's sick and twisted. And man, that poor woman, she just looked terrified. Well, I mean, it's a disturbing blacklister. And I am kind of mad that they seem to have taken the death penalty off the table because he deserves to die.
Well, are you excited that there's a creepy blacklister back again? It's been a while since we've had a good creeper.
I don't like. It's one of those things. I'm one of those people where I love creepy as long as it's not something that personally bothers me. Rape and pedophilia, those things bother me. Whenever it's one of those cases, it makes me uncomfortable. I'm sure. I mean, that's the purpose of it, but it does make me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was too this week. It was I like the creepiness factor. But at the same time, when you have a woman being affected in that way, it just, something about it just doesn't sit right with me. Like Cypress Agency, granted, they were all kind of lined up in the beds and in a coma or paralyzed to do the thing, but they weren't being raped or impregnated. They were just kidnapped and then being surgically inseminated in order to.
I would have rather it was flipped. If it was flipped, I would have liked it more. That would have been
sweet.
Yeah, that's what I would. Because we've seen that kind of thing done. I mean, we get it. Men are creepy as hell, and wrong. To see a woman do that I haven't seen that on TV. So that would be pretty interesting to me. So keep that in mind for the future. If you want to go near this route again, make it the woman next time.
Yeah.
Let's be different. But no, I still liked it. He was creepy enough to make me want to throw up on myself. So that's good.
The challenge that I had still with this episode too is I wanted the reason why. Why did he want a kid so badly?
Anybody that has any knows you don't want them. Once you get them, you're like, oh my God, I missed all my freedom.
Trying to prep for the show last night, and the kids are up till 11 o'clock. It's like, go to freaking bed.
Mm-hmm. That's why they made duct tape. What? Oh, I said that out loud again.
You can use that in your next episode too, writers.
Little Tylenol with codeine never hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Just don't drop it in their eyes with an eyedropper. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's disturbing. No, I didn't. Apparently, he just wanted a family. That's what I got. He wanted a family.
Yeah, which goes to his psychosis part of it, right? He's so obsessed with having a family, he'll do anything he can to get it.
Yeah, I just hope he serves so much time. It's unfortunate what happens to him in jail. I hope they announce exactly why he's in there, because he won't last long.
Nope,
so,
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
They catch up with Hightower, who apparently keeps a needle at the ready, because as soon as they announce themselves, he's got the needle at this lady's neck. I'm like, did he just keep it handy just in case I got to take a hostage? I don't know.
I want to know what the quick release action is for the cap on the needle. Because you don't want to walk around with just the needle exposed. You got to have some kind of protective covering over it. And he's just like, whoosh. Fastest draw in the nursery.
If you replay it, he's like Clint Eastwood with that bad boy.
Yeah,
and
I know.
He's just like, right up in there. You know, I was waiting for that. But thanks to a crack shot by Liz with some baby furniture, they end up getting their man. Turns out he did poison Red, and he negotiates to give the FBI the cure, which does ultimately save Red Reddington.
It does.
So what do you think? Now we've got through that portion. We're going to get to the characters. What did you think about this episode? Did it feel like are they calling it a winter finale?
I think it had all the points of a big episode. It had the Red not knowing. I love the opening sequence where he's just sitting there, he's minding his own business, and bam, like 9 hours later. And usually that does not work, or it's usually in the reverse, right? 24 hours ago or something like that. And this time I think it was actually really good. Even on the second watch, I was like jolted in my chair when they jumped into when he's gasping for air. I really liked that transition on the front half of it. And then the ability to go back and do the deductive dinner party concept. I know you're a big fan of Clue, so I was like, Aaron's loving this episode.
I was. If you saw me, I was tweeting because we took turns on a live tweet. I did the Blacklist, he did Redemption, and I couldn't find enough Clue references. I'm like, this is all Clue, the whole thing. I'm looking for Michael McKean stuff and Leslie Ann Warren. It's one of my favorite probably top 5 movies of all time, honestly.
Is it
if not top 10 at least.
Does that make it one of your top 5 Blacklist episodes then?
Well, no, it doesn't have the humor. I mean, it had to have the humor. So that was missing. But I love anything that's like a murder mystery. And when he's got everybody at the dinner party, if they would have been a little bit more joking, this would have been
what do you mean, David?
By a mile.
David was on fire. If I got to listen to one of your more parables one more time.
That was pretty funny.
I got to get something stronger to drink.
I kind of would have liked to have seen Red a little more jokey.
Well, he was still dying at that point. It'd be hard for his character to do that.
No. I loved it. It was a fun episode though. Especially the last couple minutes, because they did a really smart thing. In TV land, it's one of those things where we're ahead of the game. It always feels like when we're watching TV, because we've seen so much TV. A lot of times you can know what direction a TV show is going. People will call it predictable, but I also say we probably watch too much TV. Fair?
Oh yeah, because we totally gave away some answers in our Westworld podcast, like in the first or second episode, and people had to stop listening to the podcast because we got it right too much. Yeah,
we got it right too soon.
Yeah.
And so I think they did it smart by throwing the where's Dembe right at the beginning. I mean, right off the jump, Red's trying to look for Dembe. So you're already in the position to think that, did Dembe have something to do with it? Because we've kind of thought that he might, with his hints that he wasn't happy with what Red did to Kaplan. And I think we even talked about it last week, I think. Because it could only be really Kaplan or Dembe, we thought, that was messing with the money. Now, it's still not, I want to point out, it's still not confirmed it was Dembe. And then we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get there. But I like that they put it in our heads, hey guys, we know you're already thinking this, so here's where we're going. So it almost puts you off the case because they throw it right up there.
And especially when they were doing the dinner party revelation, they actually had where I think Red was standing on the left of the screen holding the glass of wine. And then there was a shot where they switched and Red was on the right-hand side of the screen. And you can see Dembe in the background. And so when you see Dembe in the background, you're like, oh, clearly it's Marvin Gerard. He's the only one that's not there because Dembe's there. I think one thing that did give it away, though, there was a spot where the camera switches back. He's standing on the left. He's holding the wine. And then he reaches up and he coughs in the past rather than in the present. And that cough was like, oh my gosh, he was already poisoned before the dinner party.
Mm-hmm. Good catch, Troy.
I just didn't know who would have done it and where it would have happened. I still didn't put the whiskey together, the scotch together until the actual end of the episode with everybody else. But there was that cough, and that made me question if it was something in that room. I don't know if anybody else caught that cough or not. Or Dembe.
I did the second time. I didn't the first time. I thought Dembe right off the bat, though. So.
Yeah, okay, good. Because some people
that's
said Dembe
overabundance of TV, though.
It totally is. It's trying to dissect every little nuance. Mm-hmm. And because I wasn't tweeting, I was able to catch it on the first go. You were tweeting, so you probably missed it because you just heard it, and he's coughing afterward. Yeah,
it's too busy going, Clue, I got to watch Clue. That's basically where I was at by the end of it.
Overall, great episode, though.
Right? No, it was. Absolutely. And going back to my point, to me, it's almost harder to see the way because we all like them. Everybody likes, Hisham plays it so sweetly and tough. So we all like Dembe. We love the character. So we think it could be Dembe, but we don't want it to be Dembe. So when you get to the end and Red comes to the realization that it probably is Dembe, that's when we, the audience, we still gasp. Not because we didn't think it before, but because, oh my God, we didn't really think it could happen.
Well, and then
we didn't think they would actually do that with our beloved character.
Well, and the audience is then doing the same thing. No, can't be. Someone put him up to it. He's being framed. He's
absolutely
maybe they kidnapped his family, and because he kidnapped his family, he's doing it to get his family back. Everybody just starts making up all of this stuff, which I think is the great thing to do for a finale, because then you could talk about it for 8 weeks and go, what about this? Mm-hmm. What about that?
Yep, I agree. Absolutely. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was a really fun episode. Good job, guys.
All right, moving into our characters. Music up first as the apothecary works on his latest cocktail and his wife. We hear the mamas and the papas. My Girl, which is now ruined for me for the rest of my life. Thank you, music department.
Not me.
And because we can use it, it's a Twisted Twin spin today for all you Blacklist fans out there, as No Salt on Her Tail is also heard, while the apothecary teaches his wife how to ring the bell. No radio DJs out there? Okay, fine. Lastly,
ding. How's that?
Lastly, as Dembe flees the city, Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower plays as Red sits in disbelief over the toxicology results.
Oh, remember when they did that remake of that for Battlestar Galactica?
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, it was so good. The first time, I'll tell you a little TV thingy about me. The first time I ever heard My Girl was on a TV show?
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Moonlighting, David Addison.
I was going to say Moonlighting, Night Court.
Had to be one of those two, right?
I had 3 to pick from. Psych was the other one.
Yep, those are my favorites. And David Addison. Crooning My Girl is the first time I ever heard that song. So you can't ruin it because you would have to take away childhood memories that cannot be removed. So
the fresh memory in my head is him diddling his wife, so it's ruined for me.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't ruin it because I still got David Addison.
Okay.
And he's timeless, my friend. Timeless.
I'll just remember David Addison then.
Until the last couple of years where Bruce Willis just ruined his career. But that's beside the point. All right, so moving on to Tom. Although he might have redeemed it recently, but I can't say where because it might be a spoiler. Mm-hmm. Let's move on to Tom, not present. He's, I assume, doing crunches, getting ready for redemption during this episode.
So I have to throw it out there so that we can be, PC for the entire fandom. Do you think the episode's better because there's no Tom and Agnes, or do you think it doesn't matter? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I'm sorry, I was drinking water. Did you ask me a question?
I did. Is this episode better because there's no Tom, Keen, and Agnes, or is it just fine either way?
I still didn't hear you. My headset is fuzzy.
Oh, you were dodging it today.
I think so. Yes.
Yes, I think
it's nothing against Ryan though. It's a character I think has run its course. Yes.
Yes, I agree 100%. There you go. It was 100% for you. That's how much strongly I feel that Tom wouldn't have added any value to this episode. The Tom Keen character. Now, Christopher Hargrave, Jacob Phelps, that character, I'm still interested in watching that character. But
yeah, you liked the show, didn't
you? I have. We'll talk about.
Oh, we're going to talk about. We'll talk about it. Okay. Wrestler doesn't do a whole lot. He investigates Miss Dolly's coma, tries to find the apothecary. That's really what he does. I mean, he's got a nice little couple moments with Liz. The baby store was actually pretty funny, but outside of that, kind of minimal. Yeah.
Inside joke for all of you guys: the Helen Dolly is actually Dahle, I believe it was in the show. Aaron really wanted the Hello Dolly joke to land, so he's literally written Dolly as Dolly in the entire format today.
I sure did. I don't care. Oh, hello, Dolly. Hello. I'm sorry.
Hello,
all
my
right.
ragtime gal.
Was there... Hello, Dolly. Was there anything more about Wrestler this week?
I love that Wrestler and Liz were the ones that were out in the field instead of him and Samar. So we're getting the Mulder and Scully action back again.
Yes, very much so. That takes us to Cooper. Doesn't really, again, some of our side characters didn't get a whole lot to do this week. Cooper, he did have one really good line that I liked. There's no shame in hoping for the best, even for the worst. I really like that line.
Get back in there, Tyr. He still loves Red.
I mean, he acknowledges he's the worst. He's an all-around good guy. That's what I got.
Yeah, no matter what, you can't break Cooper. He's still going to be there. He'll go to bat for you, even if you're scum.
And I don't know if you guys follow Mojan or Amir on Instagram, but they both they put up videos of the triple take with Harry Lennox.
It was so good.
It was very, very funny. So if you're not following them, the actors, you should go check that out because it's very, very funny.
But more importantly, go look at Megan Boone's Instagram account because she put up the other angle of where he's actually doing the triple take to the phone.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. Find out. Apparently, it's a trifecta. Follow them all.
Yeah,
that's
there you go.
Samar confronts Panetti and his lawyer over the apothecary, and they toss Honey and Sweetheart. I already talked about it, but it really irritated me. I hate when people in the corporate world, I hear it all the time, and it makes it's one of those. It's a trigger for me. It's a trigger. It's such a old dude demeaning kind of way to talk to a woman, and it gets me almost more than the whole guy with his wife thing. I mean, it's just ugh. So whenever I hear it, I'm like, kill him. Just kill him right there. Just shoot him.
So
be fine with it.
Play writer's devil advocate for a minute. Do you want Samar to at least reach out, grab him, and kind of throw him onto the table and say, dude, call me Honey or Sweetheart again, and I'll break your arm? Or are you thinking Samar's, I'm just doing my job, I'm going to internalize it, I'm not going to react to it? Which side of Samar would you like to have seen in this scene?
No, I think she handled it better, actually. I think as TV watchers, yeah, we want the dramatic action, but as a person with a daughter and raised by a single mother, to me, I think she handled it better than reacting to it. She handled it with dignity. She's like, yeah, you're not getting me, so we'll just move on.
Well, see, I gave you two options, so I could keep the third for myself. I wanted her to have a stern comment, at least, about the Honey and Sweetheart back at him, because she's always so good with her words. I would have loved her just say, say sweetheart one more time.
I like it better that she didn't even acknowledge it. She just walked past it. Like, okay, whatever. You're not getting me. I'm not playing that game.
We've never agreed before, so why start now?
Exactly. Because you're always wrong, dum-dum. Aram seems to be the only one who really cares that Red is dying. Until near the end, when Liz has a little bit of, all right, well, that would suck if he dies. I think Aram is really the one that's pulling for him the most.
Well, he knows Red the best. I mean, he's been over to his apartment. They meet at the graveyard in the middle of the night. They ride on bikes together. I mean, come on.
Who doesn't like papaya? Papaya is delicious, by the way.
It is very good.
I would love some papaya. If somebody could work that out, that would be great. Deliver it. That'd be super.
It grows on the trees there in California.
Well, that's cool because I'm not there. So,
but my friend is and sends me some, so it's good.
Really? He mails you papaya?
Yeah.
Are you making this up?
No, totally. It's like anytime they have extra fruit, I'm like, send it our way. We'll take it.
He just throws it in the mail?
Yeah.
Papaya?
Yeah. FedEx.
You could buy it at the store, right?
No, this is fresh. Fresh papaya. Off the tree.
So what is it at the store? It's
been sitting in transport, sprayed with all them GMO chemical acids and stuff.
It's still freshest.
Yeah, no.
Fresh-ish.
Organic.
That's funny.
Anything you eat the outside of the skin on, you have to buy organic. Just saying.
Okay, well, thanks for that lesson. Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's about all we got from around this week. Liz, again, kind of in the background, but she does catch Mr. Dolly in his full manhood. That was a funny scene where the guy, I'm just sitting there going, put on a towel. Why are you just standing there butt naked? Put on a towel.
But, yeah.
You don't have much to say. I think you were admiring this scene.
No, I was watching Megan's reaction in that scene. It was like, oh, really? Come on. I should do that really well because I didn't realize he'd stood up until I looked back and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Very, 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 very classy move there at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock Eastern.
Well, they didn't show butt or anything.
That's true. 9 o'clock, they would have showed the butt.
Ladies are probably disappointed. What a waste. Naked guy, don't have the butt on camera. Come on now. All right. Well, that takes us to Red, because really the entire episode was a Red murder mystery. And a lot of people have been saying Red hasn't had much to do the last few weeks.
Yeah, where's all the screen time for Raymond? Why don't we have more Red on the screen? Well, here you go. The whole episode.
Almost the entire episode felt like Red. So, throughout the episode, he's asking, where's Dembe? Dembe, where's Dembe? There's a traitor in the family. I intend to find them. He was poisoned, but he believes it was one of the 11 who had access to his offshore accounts. Do you think it's against his character that he didn't immediately suspect Dembe, or at least put him in the mix?
Why would he? It's his blood brother. They prayed together over the box. They had the conversation in the Mabasa cartel, and he took out a man for Dembe when Dembe wouldn't do it. I mean, there's no way it would be Dembe. It's impossible to be Dembe. Why would Dembe even think about double-crossing me? I mean, I know he's mad about Kaplan, but there's just no way that Dembe could do it. No, I think he played it absolutely spot on. I have a bigger question, which is, why does he have 11 people that have access to his offshore accounts?
That's a good question.
Three is good. You know, one goes down, you got a backup to the one, but 11? Someone's going to steal that cash, man.
I would love to sit here and debate and tell you how there's no way because, for my bank account, 2 people have the passwords. I'm protective. But I also don't have hundreds of millions of dollars. So that probably makes a difference, right? You have more people involved in your finances if you actually have finances, which, we're not at his level. So maybe that's when you have 11 people.
That was Abe, right? Abe took over for, what's his name?
Oh, I don't follow what's his name, abracadabra, whatever you just said.
The guy Nate Smalls, right? Smalls, the guy that got axed by Natalie Luca.
Was it Jacob? Nate?
No,
was it Nate?
I think it was Nate.
Zach
Smalls. That's it. Yes. So that was Abe, right? That was with Zach Smalls because it was Abe and David, and then the lady.
I don't remember his name. I remember Zach because
Abe was the guy that was the one that went at the airport in Sydney and had the airport food.
Mm-hmm. I remember who he is. I just don't remember if his name's Abe.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's characters. I can't keep. I was trying to get
lepidopterology.
There you go. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Yep, that one.
That's why you stay with words like Dolly.
Exactly. That's why I keep things simple, man. I don't want to open a book. Come on, it's America. We don't do that anymore, all right? We just read headlines and we tweet.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
All right, the entire episode, Red is playing his own Wadsworth as he goes from room to room searching for clues to his own, what? Murder.
I'm just letting you revel in it because you keep doing it. I'm so awesome. Look at me. Murder.
What do you mean? Murder. He's led to a car with a woman in the trunk. Woman Red put in that trunk. A random woman who helps Red. A woman named Lulu Mlen. She leads him to his 11 guest associates who have access to his account, but one's missing. One is missing. Who was it? They should have had 3 endings to this episode, by the way. Whatever.
They totally should have. That would have been awesome. That would have actually been really, really good.
You got Dembe running, you got Kaplan running, and you got Liz running. Boom. We don't know who it was, but somebody had access to that scotch.
Yes, they did.
So what do you think about Marvin Gerard? Did you ever think it was Marvin?
No, but I love that we postulated that Marvin could have been one of the people that had access to the accounts last week. Because when Fisher Stevens' name came up in the title credits as they were rolling through, I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to see Marvin Gerard. I love it. It was a great diversion tactic. Because you totally believe it's Marvin for the longest time until he's like, yeah, I saved your life. I brought you caviar. Why the hell would I come after you? And you're like, oh, snap, it's somebody else. And there's only one person left.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so Glenn returns, finds Marvin, which was great to see Glenn again. We haven't seen him in a while. Yes. Love him. The larger broad.
The little weasel.
What did he say about the guy? He's with his lady, the larger broad or something like that. Whatever he said.
The big girl.
Yeah, I was like, what? Who talks like that? Anyway, he finds Marvin. Red is cured. but he finds out the poison was administered, and we're led to believe... What? What were we led to believe, Troy?
We're led to believe that Brimley is going to be super pissed off, and Brimley is going to be the one that actually killed Red, because he was the only one not invited to this episode.
He doesn't have access to his accounts. He's a horrible torture guy.
Yeah,
don't give him access to the money.
Boz is there. Glenn is there. When Glenn and Boz take Marvin over to the apartment, Brimley could have been there prepping his torture techniques, ready to go as Red walked in. You had some random guy standing bodyguard outside the hallway with the cell phone.
Troy has Tourette's. We were led to believe it was Dembe. That's what we were led to believe.
I'm just upset Brimley wasn't in the episode. That's all.
You don't give Muscle the codes to the nukes, man. You just don't do it. You don't give the Muscle the code.
But you had an opportunity for Brimley to torture Marvin Gerard. That's what he does. The llama could have been in his apartment playing with the cat.
Oh, Lord. You need help. Anyway, Dembe. We don't see him most of the episode except for in the flashbacks. And also at the very end where you see him running was it New York? I don't remember where he was, but he's running.
Well, they're in D.C. or outside D.C.
Yeah, he's trying to get somewhere.
It looks like New York, but it's really not New York. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Do you think it was Dembe? Now that we've arrived to this moment, do you think Dembe poisoned Red?
Dembe delivered the poison, but I don't think it was an ill-intentioned attack. I think something's going on. He's being told to do it or set up to do it. There's a deeper story here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, but what's your opinion as of this moment? Where do you stand?
I don't know your question. I'm saying Dembe did poison him. Dembe delivered the scotch. Yes.
Do you think he did it with knowledge that it was poisoned or without knowledge?
With knowledge.
Okay. I also...
Otherwise, why is he running? He's going... So you have to analyze. Yes, that last scene. The small words are hard for me now because I could do lepidopterology. Analyze is he running to somebody? Is he running away from something? Is he going to find somebody? So it depends on how you want to read that final scene. And we had some listener comments that are actually really, really interesting about that final scene that we'll get to in Special Agent Intel. I don't want to steal their thunder. Really, really good putting two and two together coming up about that.
I think he delivered it. I don't think it was intended to kill him, but I do not think that he orchestrated the poison at all.
Well, no, the apothecary orchestrated the poison.
You know what I'm saying. I don't think he hired the apothecary.
No, he did not.
No, I think he realized that he was being set up at some point and went after. That's my personal theory. That's what I'm hoping. It's probably because I'm hoping that because I don't want Dembe to get in trouble.
Well, I think
we saw what happened to Kaplan when she betrayed him. So
there is a possibility he could have been duped as well, because maybe it was supposed to just paralyze him or take him out, or at least give him a nudge of, look, this is how close it can come. This is to teach you a lesson, buddy. But unfortunately, somebody else gave the wrong toxin to Dembe, which is the one that actually was going to kill him instead.
Or it was meant to just debilitate him,
that's what I just said. Yeah, debilitate him, paralyze him.
You didn't say that. You alluded to it. So there's a difference. That's one of those words. If you opened the book, you would see it. So alluded.
I think Dembe is in collusion, but Dembe was not aware of the type of strength of poison that he was delivering.
I think he wanted to use it to get away, so he could meet Kaplan or talk to Kaplan or whatever. I think he needed that because otherwise he couldn't get out of Red's grasp.
Again, he can't go meet Kaplan. He can't find Kaplan unless Kaplan has secretly reached out to him that we don't know, as the audience don't know.
Right, which we wouldn't.
Because at this point, Dembe thinks that she's dead.
But does he?
I don't know. That's
where we're going to get a flashback.
That's what's called a winter cliffhanger.
All right, well, let's go see what our listeners thought, because they said they have some cool stuff, and then we'll talk about Redemption.
They do. Once again, reminder that our Inside the Blacklist panel is taking place at the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, or c2e2.com for all that information. It's going to be on Saturday, 3 o'clock on April 22nd. It's in room S402, that's S402 in the South Hall. Tickets for the expo are $70 for the weekend, $40 if you just want to come on Saturday to see us talk about the Blacklist, and the room we have holds 300 people, so we'd love to get everybody that can get to Chicago that weekend to be there. It'll be a fun time. We'll actually have the continuation of this story. Will have just aired on that Thursday night. It's a 2-hour episode when the Blacklist returns on April 20th, so we'll have lots to talk about at that panel. Again, April 22nd, 3 p.m. inside Blacklist at C2E2, room S402, $40. Come see us, John Bokenkamp, down at McCormick Place in downtown Chicago.
Yes. It'll be a lot of fun. So be there. Come there. Be there. Be
square.
Red. Square.
Circle. Triangle.
Show's not over, so don't go anywhere. But please remember, don't miss any special episodes during the break. So download the Blacklist Exposed app for iOS and Android. And be sure to go even deeper into the mystery of Red Reddington by visiting our partner Blacklist site, theblacklistmbc.com. With that, we'll be right back with Red's Rhetoric right after this. Are you sick of the endless, poorly realized remakes as we are? Then take a listen to Remake This Movie Right, where we take a classic movie, figure out what works and what doesn't, throw a dash of humor at it, and then we craft our own remake. So by the end of every episode, we will remake this movie right. Recently featured as a podcast to listen to by the AV Club, you can find us at RemakeThisMovieRight.com or your podcast app of choice. Every movie you love will get a remake someday, and only you can make it better.
Hey, Dembe Loyals, this is Hisham Tawfiq. You are listening to Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Welcome to Red's Rhetoric, that part of the show where we take 2 clips from this past week's episode and you get to vote over at theblacklistexposed.com. Apparently, portraits of Red freak you out, or some of you just have smell fetishes, as the aroma of oil paints won, with hashtag Red Paint taking in 55% of the vote. This week, our first clip comes when Red talks about trust.
Thank you all for coming on such short notice. I must admit, I've never had the pleasure of dining in this particular establishment before. I do wish we could enjoy it under more auspicious circumstances, but so be it.
It was about the attack on your assets by whoever killed Zach Small.
I've always found stories of betrayal to be so compelling, so tragic for all those involved. Judas, Iago, men who were beloved by those they betrayed.
You're telling one of those stories you love. If you're even thinking about another parable, I may strangle you myself.
Ironic, isn't it? That the ones in whom we place our greatest trust are best positioned to put the knife in our backs.
You said you had Levine follow the money. The funds came from one of your own accounts.
The 11 people to whom I extended invitations tonight were the only ones who could have accessed that particular account. One of those 11 is a traitor, and only 10 of you are here. Perhaps our Judas didn't have the nerve to attend this Last Supper. But I can assure you, I will find the guilty party, and he or she will be held accountable. Cheers.
Our second clip comes when Red shares the horrors of prison.
Tell me where Dembe is.
Red, I swear to you, I don't know any of what you're talking about.
I shouldn't be surprised. We're criminals after all. It's in our nature to betray.
I didn't do whatever it is you think I did.
Remember that wretched bit of business on the Malay Peninsula? I was positive I would rot alone in that holding cell in Surat Thani. Slowly eaten alive by mosquitoes to the constant refrain of body blows and screaming. 47 interminable days of near constant rain. I couldn't be sure any of my messages had been dispatched. And then, on the 48th day, they swung the cell door wide and handed me a package. 6 tins of chilled beluga caviar and a note. Love, Marvin. When I think of it, guards on 2 continents, the bribes alone must have cost you a fortune. I still can't fathom how you managed to pull it off from inside a federal prison. But you had my undying gratitude. So when the opportunity arose, I facilitated your freedom.
Exactly. Why would I betray you?
We'll get to why soon enough.
Which is your favorite? If you have ever skipped out on an engagement out of fear, vote hashtag Red Judas. Or if you prefer the fine gifts of a friend, vote hashtag Red Caviar.
Okay, well, let's see what all you special agents thought of this week's episode. Wendy thought, first of all, wasn't it lovely? Wasn't it a lovely thing to do to honor Lulu in this episode? A big thank you to the writers for that. Big heart. First things first, you wouldn't believe how happy I was to hear Red quote Dylan Thomas's, "I've been hoping for a long time for that to happen." Aw. Oh boy, this episode was trippy. Red don't handle his poisons very well, does he? Let's cut to the chase. Is it Dembe? As a viewer, like Kaplan, I don't want them to be the villain behind all this. I have had a couple of theories in mind who's behind all this, and one of my main ones is that Red could be making it look like he's losing his marbles in order to flush out who the main culprit is. Something got me thinking that was said in Redemption. Scotty has a big plan that will have global implications. Could Red's long-term plans mimic this? And in some way, is she involved? And this is a long shot. She's being employed, or at least in cahoots, with Katarina. I do think they will have to keep an eye on Reddington, which, by the way, wasn't as bad as I first feared. Or keep an eye on Redemption, sorry. Because I do think there will be some intertwining storylines going on there. Fine performance by Spader as usual. We got an appearance from Glenn and Marvin Gerard, which pleases me to no end. Finally, the Blacklister was super creepy this week, and I want more of the same in the future.
No Brimley. All right. Elena said, throughout the episode, I was guessing two things. Either it was Dembe or Red did it to himself. When the episode ended, I don't think it's Dembe. In the last scene, I think Dembe is following a lead and not running away from Red. At least I hope so. Love the episode. By the way, reminds me of my favorite thriller movies.
I love when people mention movies. Anita, I was happy to see Red reunited with his cat.
Yeah. And for those that don't remember, the place that they were sitting in is the flat that Liz went to because the graduation picture of Megan was up on the mantle there behind the fireplace. So that was the flat. So good to see that we came back to the flat and the cat is okay. Tiffany said, the cat did it. Whoa. Scary.
I don't like cats, so I blame them too. I'm with you.
He was there the whole time. They're devious creatures, to be honest. And where's he been anyway? Getting a paw in every one of Reddington's pies on the sly. The cat's got my vote right after Kaplan, which is what Dembe cottoned on to see and set off after her.
I like it. I mean, 1 + 1 is 2, right? All right. I thought Linda said, I thought Boz, 1 + 2 + 2 + 1 + 2 + 2 + 1. Okay. Linda said, I thought Boz and Glenn were figments of his imagination for a moment. So did I, actually.
I did too. Like, Is this heaven?
Yeah. What's going on?
It's Iowa. Priscilla said...
It's Iowa.
Priscilla said, I'm going to assume Dr. Nick is dead since he was not the one taking care of Red. Good call. Dr. Nick call out.
He's got to be dead.
He's got to be dead. So dead.
Michelle, finally, they give us an episode worthy of watching again, except for the 5-minute scene where Red shot Kaplan. But then again, there was no Tom or Agnes. Oh, snap.
Oh, snap. Nate said, wowzers, what an episode. We haven't seen Red this helpless since the Cape May episode. The showrunners and writers need a raise for such a stellar episode. From a technical aspect, the cinematography was beautiful and the editing was brilliant as it continued to show us how Red was feeling after being poisoned. The tone of the episode was so unique. From the way the episode was shot to the editing choices, there was a kinetic energy that took the writing to a whole nother level. I enjoyed the mystery and the search for the loathsome betrayer. I thought the Blacklister was just okay, but the unique twists in the writing facilitated the need to look for the apothecary. Samar had a sense of urgency in this episode, not just for Red's problem, but with other cases. I wanted to know more about the case and the people they were pressuring. I was thrilled with the tribute to Lulu and how she helped Red. I'm sad we have to wait to see how the rest of the season plays out, but I can only say that there's no forgiveness how Red was betrayed. All I have to say is, hell has no fury like a Red betrayed and left to die. On to Redemption, I loved it. The thing that works for the spinoff is that we already have a connection with the main players and the world Tom is playing in. I like the tone, the playfulness, the mystery of the episode. I'm looking forward to seeing how the spinoff plays out.
Crystal says, I really liked the episode and Jane Spader acting was awesome as usual. The shout out to Lulu was really thoughtful and I'm sure her family appreciated that. Yes, I believe her sister tweeted that as well. Dislikes, I feel like the intensity built really well throughout the episode, and the ending kind of fizzled out for me a little bit. I'm not really sure why, though. I think I'm having trouble buying the whole Dembe thing. They have built his character to be not afraid of just telling Red how it is. He's upset about Kaplan, so I would expect him to walk away and abandon Red if necessary, but not try to kill him. So the big the big cliffhanger I'm not really buying is true. I also felt like the transition to redemption wasn't as smooth as I expected for them planning it for so long. Didn't exactly feel blended at the end of the Blacklist, and the start of Redemption went very well. And the start of Redemption very well. I really did enjoy the Blacklist, but just can't really figure out what it was about the ending that really leaves me feeling underwhelmed. On my second watch, it was better for me. It was much more enjoyable without the expectations I had built in my head the first time around, though.
That seems to happen quite a bit. We've done that a few times, too, where it's like, this episode wasn't that great. And then you watch the second time, and you're like, you know what? It was actually okay.
Yeah, sometimes it goes that way.
It certainly does, I was okay with the transition, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second.
A little bit later. All right, Rhonda wrote in and said, in an episode where the lead character is dying, you would expect an emotional episode and maybe some deathbed revelations.
Yeah, that was missing. I was hoping for that, too.
He wasn't on his deathbed.
I don't know. He seemed like he was going to die.
He seemed like he was poisoned. He could have been comatose. I wouldn't call it the episode where he gets shot by in the Vanessa Cruz episode. That episode is closer to a deathbed scene. This wasn't a deathbed scene. He's walking around for the 2 days trying to put the pieces back together.
I'm just saying. I mean, he definitely said my own murder. I'm gonna, I'm dying. Blah blah blah. It felt like he knew he was dying.
Well, the thing that I was really hoping for was when the phone call comes. You're standing in front of the boxing ring. And it was the tox lab or whatever. I was hoping we were going to get the answer to the genetic marker that targeted Red, because I didn't realize they had the actual cure in their hands. And they were trying to administer the cure. I thought they were trying to make the cure in the back room. Mm-hmm. So I thought there was a call coming of, here's the genetic makeup, and here's an answer. And no, it's just that it wasn't wine. It was something stronger. It's like, damn it. Oh, well. This episode had neither. I just felt nothing. I mean, Spader was great as always, but of course we all knew he wasn't going to die. And that shocker ending... A lot of people guessed that ahead of time. A big part of the problem is, as usual, lately, Red spends the majority of the episodes separated from Liz and the task force. I mean, the only one that seemed to care at all was Aram. Liz finally sounded worried at the end, but then, nothing. No emotional payoff. They don't even give us a 2-minute scene between Liz and Red where she shows some concern. Instead, he spends part of the episode with some complete stranger, and when she asks if Liz would be upset, he's gone and he says he doesn't know. How sad is that? It was kind of sad, actually.
That is kind of where the relationship is, though.
It
honestly,
is
right now.
It is. I mean, they're kind of estranged at this point. They work together, but don't know what their closeness or if they can ever get back to that point ever again. So
I don't think she's feeling it. I mean, the whole Kaplan thing really turned her away.
Agree. She was coming back, and then you did what to Kaplan, and then 180 back the other way again.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the way everyone's been hating on Red lately his almost dying would maybe make them realize something, especially Liz, but no, just nothing. Maybe they're still leading up to that. There must be some reason Liz is so distant, and Cooper and Wrestler are fed up with him, but it's just taken way too long to get there. By the time they do get there, ratings may drop some more. This has been going on since season 3B, now with Liz acting like she hates him. Guess what? No one wants to watch a show where the female lead basically hates the male lead and all the other characters blame the lead character for everything. Now, even the most rock-solid relationship of the show is in danger, and even Dembe is turning on Red. Huh? That may be okay for a few episodes, but like I said, they're just taking way too long to get there, assuming they're going somewhere without an even plan to get there. Bokenkamp just said something about maybe Red is going to realize he has to do things differently, so I think that's where it's going, and it just better get there soon. I'm not the only one getting fed up with the show.
No, there's some people that are there. I get it.
Yep.
I think, weren't you going to do a roundtable with some of the...
Yep, still in the works. We got three are ready to go, so we're going to get a date scheduled, and we'll talk about that.
Okay. Andrew said, there was a well thought out, by the way, nice thoughts. Andrew said, this was a mind-blowing episode. While the blacklister in question, the apothecary, was a bit of a creepy guy. Understatement of the century.
Yeah, totally.
I concur. But he was the one who made the poison. I cannot believe Dembe was the one to administer the poison to Red. I don't buy it to be as cut and dry as Dembe betrayed Red by attempting to destroy his empire and potentially kill him. I'm with you on that one. Dembe isn't an eye for an eye guy. He's a turn the other cheek guy. I don't agree with that one. I believe there is more to this story. He will have to see in a few months whether he has truly betrayed Red or not. I have a new theory, than those stating that Mr. Kaplan is behind Red's downfall. I believe it is Red's daughter, Jennifer, who is behind everything, and she's angry that Red abandoned her and her mother to become a criminal and is out for revenge, even killing him or humiliating him in the process. I did not get a chance to watch Redemption yet, but I'm hoping it will be as good as the parent show. Keep on rocking in the free world.
Jennifer, hey. People are still hung up on the Jennifer character.
You don't like Jennifer?
It was just so long ago, and it was just a passing conversation with Naomi that I just don't know if this character is really a character. Especially,
it's his daughter, right?
Well, is it a daughter, or is it like an adopted daughter? Is it a biological daughter? Is it a...
Don't we need an explanation of that at some point?
Wasn't it a witness protection daughter that he just had to make a play and pretend that it was his daughter? I mean, there's so many questions about Jennifer, but at this point, 2 seasons later, do you really care about Jennifer? I don't know.
If it was introduced as a main character's daughter, yes, I would say it's an important character.
Okay. Shannon said, if Dembe meant for Red to die, why did he drag Red to the medical tent? Unless the doc actually saw Mr. Solomon drag him in instead. Dembe saved Red's life. It's possible Dembe was set up, then ran. He might be on the lam until Red gets to the bottom of how Dembe was used and by whom. Until then, Dembe stays in the wind to stay alive.
And one more. Karen, did anybody notice that the end of this anybody notice the end of this episode with Dembe walking to the city at night and pulling his hood up looked very similar to the ending of Onslow Garrick after Red got off the phone with Lizzie. Remember, Red was going after the people that betrayed him. He hung up with Lizzie, started walking through New York City at night in dark clothes, pulled his head up over his head, walking fast like he was on a mission. Very similar endings. I think Dembe is on a mission to find out what the hell is going on. I am with you, Karen.
Guys, very good detective work going back to Onslow Garrick. Very, 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 very astute.
Thought the same thing. In my mind, Dembe realized that Red was poisoned after the fact. I don't think he realized. I think he thought he was. I don't know what he thought, but I think he realized that he is the one that poisoned Red, and now he's on a mission to find out why and who was behind it.
I think that's a really interesting story. That's where I'm hoping it goes.
Okay.
Dembe wouldn't kill Red. He just wouldn't.
Says you.
Dembe will teach him a lesson, like, hey, wake up, dude. But he wouldn't do anything that would actually mortally harm Reddington. I don't think so.
Oh, frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn what you think. Let's move on.
Well, that's it for the main show. If you want to go hunt down Dembe for 8 weeks because you feel that it was all his doing, we totally understand. But if you are interested in what Scotty Hargrave, Mr. Solomon, Des Rowan, Dumont, and that guy Tom Keene are up to, it's time to seek some redemption.
Okay, we're at Blacklist Redemption, guys. We're
second
here.
hour.
We have arrived.
It's been we've been waiting for the show for it seems like almost a year now. Mm-hmm. When I first got word that this was going to be happening, or at least the pilot was being filmed, and then we didn't know it was going to be picked up until May during the upfronts. So we are here. It has happened, and we start off with the Liz Keene, Tom Keene, baby Agnes relationship. So transition into the show. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Here's how I looked at it. Okay. I thought there was going to be more of a baton handing off throughout the first hour. I'm actually really happy it wasn't like that.
Agree.
Yeah. So the fact that it's not even part of it, great news. Because I personally have thought that they spent too much time setting up the spinoff, even though, it did work. It worked within the crux of the episode, and it wasn't awful, and I enjoyed it. But I also think I would have rather had more Spader, honestly. But it is what it is. This transition was handled well if you're a fan of the Blacklist. If you're a fan of the show, I thought it was handled very well. If you're one of those, like you're setting up a series to spin off on its own and be its own thing for people that have never seen the Blacklist, I don't know if it did a good job of that.
Yeah, I almost feel like they should have. I don't know how you could do this, but it's almost like they should have done the 2-hour episode. Like, had this been a standalone Blacklist, 9 o'clock, just like normal, right? Ratings protection, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And then they would have done a 2-hour Blacklist Redemption next week where they would have re-shown the...
I see what you're saying.
The episode 22, the Alexander Kirk Part 1. They would have, rerun that at 8 and then had Redemption at 9. So they could have, had that bridge from the original pilot, if you will, because this wasn't the pilot. This is technically episode 2 in a way. And I just don't think they'd spend enough time introducing Liz and Tom to a new audience. I think it's very quick. She comes in, she's like, oh my gosh, the day I had, Red almost died. If this is a brand new audience, they're like, who the hell's Red? So
Yeah. So that's the thing that I think, and keep in mind, I'm a Blacklist fan, so it didn't bother me at all. But I do have friends that watch Redemption because NBC advertised the crap out of it, and it's also on Hulu, so a lot of people checked it out there. And they said they didn't know who the hell Tom Keen was, because they didn't watch Blacklist. They actually came up to me because, well, don't you do that Blacklist podcast? Da, da, da. Yeah. So what is this Redemption? Because I watched it. I don't understand what's going on. And I think that part was lost because we don't really have a good explanation of who these people are unless you're a Blacklist fan.
Right. They should have done
that's the problem.
And you hate to say that you want to do like the exposition, cold opening, text on the screen or something, but it almost seemed like it needed a voiceover. Tom Keen, international man of mystery.
Maybe
son to Scotty. Lost child of recently deceased Howard Hargrave, died in a plane crash or something. Just to at least set the stage to get everybody on the same page. I think that would have had. Now it's because it's weird because you have this like flow from 1 hour to the next hour. So yeah. I think it's a product of the way it was scheduled, not so much the way it was written. I think if it was scheduled differently, they could have wrote it differently.
I don't think it was written so much as a pilot as an extension.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference. I think the pilot was kind of self-contained in the previous Scotty Hargrave episode or whatever it was. So to new viewers, but see, here's the thing. They still like the show. They just didn't understand the character mode. So maybe that's going to, for those viewers that weren't part of the Blacklist fandom, maybe as the show continues, they'll elaborate more on the characters and who they are and why they're there. That's where I found the people that were coming up to me, and it was actually several that came up to me and also talked to me on Facebook and whatnot. That's where their concern was because they didn't know who these characters were or why they're important. They tuned in because they liked Famke, or they thought it looked like a cool new show. It didn't look so
heavy mythology.
Yeah, it didn't look like that. It looked like very much a procedural, fun action show, which it is. And they just were confused because a lot of it was assumed. It felt like a lot was assumed.
Yes,
as you watch it, and that's where. But I did take a poll, Troy. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
I did take a poll.
Okay.
In our Blacklist Exposed Facebook group, I took a poll. I asked the Blacklist Redemption, what's your final verdict now that they have seen the pilot, initial episode? They said, let's see, it looks like about 40% said liked it, not sold on it just yet. Then you got about 35%. We'll definitely keep watching. That's actually probably like 45 liked it, not sold on it. And then, yeah. And then the rest, I gave it a shot. It's not Blacklist enough for me, so I'm out. So there's about 2/3 enjoyed it enough to come back for the next episode. And about a third looked like they did not love it. It wasn't for them. It is a lot different than the Blacklist, though. And these are Blacklist fans.
Your math sounds sketchy. You said 45%.
I'm all over the place. Look, I didn't do the math in my head before I came on, but I can tell you it's about 20% won't be back.
There you go. So 80-20 rule applies. 80-20 people says show's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I would put it. I would say thumbs up.
Yeah, it was a great episode. It was fun. It was entertaining.
I think it was a good episode. I wouldn't go great, but thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had some concerns. I felt like Famke didn't get enough to do. I think Scotty, I like where they're going. They're establishing the show's own mythology. I don't like the secret thing. I feel like that's kind of, we've been there before. As a new show, it stands on its own. It'll have to stand on its own with that. I don't need more secrets. Let's try to figure it out. But they also need something for Tom to investigate why he's still sticking around, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
I like that Tom and Agnes are off the Blacklist. I like that.
I know. You know what? The funny part is that even though the transition was awkward for new viewers, the Tom, Liz, Agnes opening is the most
great.
Is the most believable that relationship has been.
Absolutely agree with that. That was for Blacklist fans, for me as a fan, that was the best part of the show, I thought.
Yeah, because
next to the fugitive moment, which I'll talk about in a second.
But she was all like, "Oh yeah, we can get the nanny cut. We'll be rich. We can get a nanny. We can get a car. We get a van." And then they actually, the one cut where it cut to Agnes and Agnes put her hands over her mouth. Like she was like, oh my gosh. I thought that was so cute.
Yeah, we're not going to do as detailed as we do for the Blacklist. We're just kind of going to talk about it a little more openly.
Yeah, because we'll have our full, like we said, on April 15th, we'll have our full Blacklist, the entire thing, Redemption wrap-up show. So we get the whole concept of it. Howard Hargrave calls Tom on the payphone. Yes, the payphones are still there from Ansel Garrick, part 2, apparently. So the question is because we well know about payphones if you listen to Serial. The question here becomes... Are you interested that are you excited that Terry O'Quinn was like, boom, he's on the scene like right away, beginning at the top of the show before the title card?
I was just excited to see Terry O'Quinn, and I don't care what he was doing. He could have literally been walking around the background. I would have been excited. He's one of my favorite character actors.
So this is where the humor comes in for the show for me, because Tom answers the first payphone and he grabs the book from the top of the payphone that's on his left. And then he's like, I'm not talking to you. And he hangs up the phone and he walks away. And the phone on the left rings on the second time. I thought that was funny. Like Howard knows like which phone he's standing at.
Yeah, I thought that was actually really, really funny.
I thought that was cool.
It was funny. No, it was cool to see him. I think once again, for new viewers, which obviously that wasn't the target. They were going to maintain and keep Blacklist faithful. I don't know if you understand the whole dad thing. It seems you do by the end, though. You do by the end of the episode, I guess.
Yeah, totally. You get that. You're supposed to be dead. Your plane crashed. It's like, well, I'm clearly not. So,
no, I like seeing him, and especially because he almost comes across a little nutty by the end, and it's kind of like, do we trust him? Who's on the up and up here? Is Scotty really a bad person, or is Howard just a nut?
Stay under the trees. Stay under the trees. Yeah, he's a little bit of wackadoo. I think maybe
he's a little Howard Hughes, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. That's exactly the vibe I was getting from him. It seemed like he has this, like we find out later in the episode that he has this brilliant mind. He's built this big company, and now we're watching him progress. And is he really just a product of his own? Is it almost like a Nas character, right? Is it a Beautiful Mind situation? He's obsessed so long with trying to find out about the disappearance of his son and how it's all affected his company that maybe he's gone a little cuckoo, even though he doesn't realize it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So what do you think of the techno babble? A little too much, or you like it just fine?
There were parts where I was excited for some of the things that Dumont was doing, and there's other parts of the Dumont character where it felt a little, I don't know, forced or written to just be written to. Some of it just did not work for me. I love the tech, but the techno babble, not so much. Didn't seem like it flowed very well. And they almost made fun of it. They made fun of it themselves too, right? They had the whole like, he's explaining, I'm going to do this with the key card. You got to do this and that and that and that. And then Solomon's like, so you're just going to copy the thing? He's like,
yeah, I thought I liked it. I mean, obviously the first episode, they're kind of establishing everything. So everything's always rushed in those. But I liked it. I really liked the sucking the air out scene. I thought that was pretty funny.
But well, here was the thing with the sucking the air out scene. I like the sucking the air out scene. It was we're going to use the fire suppression system. The what? And it's like, it's going to suck the air out of the room. Okay, move on. Everybody gets it. They spent an extra 2 minutes explaining how the air gets sucked out of the room and fire needs air, and they're going back and forth.
I see what you're saying.
It was like I always say, it's 20 seconds. In this case, 20 seconds too long instead of 20 minutes too long. It seemed like they drew it out too far to get the joke to land or something.
Maybe they had to explain it for dum-dums like Troy.
I knew exactly what it was. I work in IT.
I work in IT too. That made me special. I love the busting the girlfriend out of the pool. I thought that was great.
That was fantastic.
She drops down. She's in a net. I thought that was pretty clever.
She's obviously a very good swimmer because she knew that, grab air first because you don't know what's going to happen next. She's like,
and the optical camera, that was very clever. I thought that was a very clever. I like tech, and Blacklist is very straightforward. I was going to say by the numbers, but that's not fair. It's very straightforward, and it's not trying to be heavy on. It's not James Bond.
But you can also go overboard on the tech. So what I love about the tech,
you can absolutely, you can,
especially in this episode, the tech in this episode is stuff that's very, very plausible in the very near future. I mean, we're talking about all these companies that are getting bought out for the ability to map internal buildings and things of that nature. So the little silver geo mapping ball that rolls out, I thought that was a fantastic thing to see how that would work. Maybe not as quick, but the concept of geomapping an internal building is very much a real thing. And then, like you said, the ocular camera, very much like a Google Glass kind of situation, potentially, where you could record everything you're seeing. So
I said optical, it's ocular.
Ocular, whatever. Optical, ocular.
Whatever it is.
I just deal with lepidopterology, butterflies.
Well,
I'm not an ophthalmologist.
Put the lotion in the basket.
Okay, so we're big 24 fans.
Yeah, you think? As soon as the split screen started, I'm like, where's Jack? Where's Jack? Damn it. Where's Jack?
I did watch it on the second watch because I wanted to count the number of split screens that happened. And I think this is a product that we have on the Blacklist where you watch it the first time, you have these expectations. The second time through, you might change your viewpoint a little bit. But 3, no more than 3 is where I land. 4 is too much. The screen's too, especially people don't have 55-inch TVs. 4 split screens is too much. Although on the second watch, I did like how they did the 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a cool effect. But then I was like, why do you need to have the bomb on there for 3 different split screens? First time I was annoyed. Second time I was like, okay, I can buy into it.
Can I just throw this 1 + 2 + 2 + 1 +... Sorry, I just had to do it one more time.
Exactly.
I thought it was... I don't know. It's a TV trope. It doesn't bother me. There was a scene where it was like too much. I'm like, okay, I get it. Now you're giving me a headache.
Well, there was one where it was what was it? It was like Nez was in the top and Dumont, and then it was going back and forth, and then you had Tom and Eddie who are literally standing next to each other in the camera shots, but you had to split screen it to have Eddie in one and Tom in the other. It was like, oh no, too much.
Yep.
So yeah, just have Eddie and Tom at the bottom and have, whatever, a small one on the top left to show her swimming in the pool, and then a big one over there that switches between Dumont and Nez Rowan's character as they're going through.
I'm okay with multiple angles of her swimming in the pool. That one I was okay with because I'm a sad individual.
But you could have just kept them static and moved where you needed to move in those cells, right? So that she's always in the top left.
That's a joke.
I know.
Is it, was it? Do you? I'm not sure you do.
The split screen was distracting a little bit.
Okay.
It was.
What about the characters?
Nez is up first. Don't think she did a lot this episode, although there was the one thing where Eddie, I don't remember what Eddie Gathegi did in this scene, but Mr. Solomon's character said something and then looked at Nez, and then Nez kind of gave him a wink back. Like they almost have a thing together. I thought that was kind of cute. I don't know if you picked up on that one.
Everything Solomon did in this episode was fantastic. I do think Nez was underused, but she showed a little emotional core, especially at the end with the kids. So
absolutely,
yep,
yeah. So if we're gonna equate these to our Blacklist people, Nez is most like who in this case? Is it Liz? Is it Samar?
I guess Samar, if I had to pick.
Okay,
I wouldn't pick. I thought she was kind of her own thing.
Sure. Well, I mean, they're their own. I'm just saying, if you had to relate them back, I mean, Dumont is obviously the Aram character.
That one is pretty on the nose, yeah.
Yeah. Solomon on the other.
But it's really I wouldn't even equate it to Blacklist. It's more like, here's your standard operating team, a Mission Impossible team. You've got your hacker, you've got your muscle, you've got your smartass, you've got your operator, and you've got the leader, the mastermind.
True.
So yeah, that's where I would go with it.
Which really makes us more like Leverage at the end of the day, just without the stealing from the bad guys.
I very much got a Leverage vibe.
I did.
Except I really wish Artisan was here. Yeah.
So Dumont, the gawking at the lady trying to do the job in the bathroom. I don't know if that was a little bit over the top stereotype or not. Did it work for you?
No. Actor's fine. It's he's, and I said this about when he was in the original one, he's the character that just isn't vibing with me the most. It feels too on the nose, been there before, done that. He had some funny lines though. I mean, I will say this, to be fair, the character was better here than the first time I saw him. The first time I saw him, I did not like him at all.
The first time it almost was like he was an arrogant ass. Like, I'm so better than you kind of thing.
Yes. I did not like him at all. I didn't find him an engaging or enjoyable character. He just, I'm like, you know what? If he dies in a barn fire, I'm cool with it. And here, I didn't dislike him. It was just more like, okay, he's fine. He was fine.
Yeah, it was okay. Again, you have to deal with what the story and the script and how it's delivered and all of that stuff. So yeah, nothing against Adrian. Adrian did a fantastic job with the character. Just it's some of it needs a little bit of work yet.
little too stereotyped for me.
Exactly.
I think. But we've both worked in IT, so we're like, you know what, guys, they aren't really like that. I mean, a lot of the guys in IT are actually really handsome, funny dudes, believe it or not.
I mean, Aaron
they're
is.
like a Rom.
Aaron is. You talk, but everybody else in IT, no, they're not like that at all.
Piss off. All right, moving on to Solomon. Favorite character of the show so far?
Easily. Solomon, I mean, not to take anybody away from Ryan and Famke, but I mean, Solomon's the lead guy in this. I mean, he carries the show. Everything he did, like the whole, we're a fortune teller. Here's your lifeline. I can poke you here. I could poke you here. I could poke you there. I mean, all of that just screamed Mr. Solomon from early, on season 3 when he was introduced in the Blacklist proper. I love this character. This character just plays bad so well, yet he has the caring, compassion undersides to him too, which make him a really deep and interesting character.
He plays with his dialogue. I like that. I really wish, and I'm going to talk about one particular moment where I think if Eddie had played it, it would have played completely different. If it was like Eddie was in Tom's role kind of thing. But they played it very straight in that scene where it could have made the scene completely different. Where Eddie plays with his dialogue, he plays with his performance. It feels like maybe he's instructed to do that. I don't know, but it sure feels like he's toying with the dialogue. And he does it great. The whole I don't care thing. Now, I don't know if he was doing an homage to The Fugitive, but it felt like an homage to Tommy Lee Jones's I Don't Care in The Fugitive. And I freaking loved it and laughed my ass off. I rewound it and watched that scene like 3 times.
Yeah, the entire conversations he has, especially his retorts and when he jumps in and how he jumps in, it's on the nose every single time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know I'd be interested to hear from the people that just watched Redemption and didn't watch Blacklist, introduced to this character for the first time, how they feel about the Solomon character. Because I know we have a special place for him, and to see that he hasn't missed a beat even after being shot in the stomach, which still looks fabulous according to him, which I thought that was a great line too. Just really, really excited to see where the Solomon character goes in this show. I hope they make sure he's front and center as much as possible.
Well, I mean, as of right now, he's kind of a side character. It's easy to stand out when you're only in 10 minutes of the show, 15 minutes of the show. I think it's harder to make that impression when you're the focus of the show, which is kind of where Ryan's Tom is a lot of this. Is he's trying to find his footing.
Well, Solomon could have been in more of the show if it wouldn't have taken Dumont so long to copy that key card.
That's true.
Just saying.
Yeah, be a little quicker. What about Scotty? Famke Janssen?
There were parts of Scotty, like I love the opening, the entire fake airplane thing. I thought
that was a great scene, by the way. That was clever.
Mm-hmm. Love that we open up with her rubber baby buggy bumpers again. That was fantastic to have that carry over. Some explanation on that, I think, which they did do the explanation at the end of the episode when Tom's like, "Yeah, my mom did nursery rhymes too. Sally sold seashells by the seashore." And I think some of that was really good. There are parts of Scotty's stuff, though, where I was kind of like, man, because it's just there and you want to feel for it, but it's a lie or you feel like it's a lie. The whole, like when she's looking at the picture of Howard and she's kind of tearing up a little bit, the whole gravesite eulogy speech.
When she's sitting alone after she signed and took ownership, we don't know,
yeah. I mean,
is it where we're supposed to be? We don't have a good feel of where her character is. It's almost like she's obscure, like Raymond is, and that part I don't think works in this show as well as I think they would like it to.
And it seemed like a different for us because we saw obviously Susan Hargrave and then Alexander Kirk part 1. I think for us we saw her a more stronger, more formidable character. In those episodes, she seemed like she was very much in the background.
I would agree 100%. I was very kind of almost disappointed with that.
Yeah, almost like Red didn't get enough. I mean, Scotty didn't get enough screen time.
I really, see, you already mixed it up. See what I'm saying? The secret. That's why I think the secrets thing is not good. But you got to have something for the show to kind of keep underlying motivations moving. I get that, and I'm sure as you go on, it'll make more sense and work better. It just didn't really gel. I really felt like Famke didn't get a lot to work with this episode.
And I really feel the Tom and Scotty scenes almost slowed the show down. I don't know if you felt that way too.
Well, one scene definitely slowed the show down and creeped me out to a large degree.
Is that? So, I mean, I don't know how to take that scene. I get what they're doing.
Let's go into that. Let's go into Scotty and Tom, okay? Yeah. Because they have this relationship. He knows she's his mom. She doesn't know that he knows, allegedly. I'm not convinced that she doesn't know because for a big portion of it, I'm kind of wondering, is she playing him to get him to be okay with her taking over the company? Does she know? I don't know what she knows. And I kind of wavered back and forth with what she knew.
So let me ask you that question first off then. Is that something that you're interested in? Are you hoping that she secretly does know that he's the son?
I think if you're going to play with secrets, yes, that would make it a lot more entertaining to me. Because why would she not want to acknowledge that if she knows and she knows that he knows? You know what I mean? So that would be interesting to me. Because I think she would have to know that he knows. Now I'm making myself very confused. But here's the thing, okay? A lot of people ask me, like, what do you...
If she knows that he knows, or she knows that he's the son and he knows that it's his mom, then this scene does not work at all. It does not work. It's just gross. Gross. Well,
not necessarily. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, with the scene where they're dancing, and it's very like, hey, come hither, mom. It was a little too Chinatown for me. But
the dancing I was fine with. I mean,
he's like going up her leg and
where it's like slowly pulling the card out. It's like, come on, really? Ugh.
That scene would work beautifully if there was any humor to it. I think you can still make the audience uncomfortable, but you have to acknowledge, because Tom knows she's his mom. So the fact that he never even makes an acknowledgement that he understands this is creepy as hell is really what makes that scene more gross.
But how does he say that without giving away the cover that he knows?
Easily walks away, makes a little like, ugh, or something like that. Or
after the release. Okay.
After he walks away, then he shows it to the audience that he understood that was uncomfortable, or makes a snide comment. That's where I think Eddie Gathegi would have played that completely different, and he would have done that. He would have acknowledged that was weird. That was, Tom did not make any facial. He didn't do anything. And that's after he walked away, not while he's there. I get why he's there. He can't let her know that he knows. But walking away, he could have, to let the audience, you need that release in that moment, because it's a really awkward moment. And I get what they were going for. I just don't think it would have played so much better had you had any kind of humor involved at the end of that scene.
And it's a very simple line. Very simple line, right? It's the, oh, you know how to push my buttons. He turns away and says, if you only knew.
Yeah, just something. I mean,
something small.
Something small. And it doesn't have to even be a joke. It could have just been just any acknowledgement that, yes, I understand, audience, what you just saw was creepy as hell. And, I get it. That not being there, I think, really hurt that scene a lot.
It did. Because it was a long scene, too.
Yeah. Well, we all see it, and they've advertised the crap out of it.
Right.
And I think everybody kind of thought, well, yeah, it'll probably play different in the actual episode. No, it played just as creepy. No. I did like Tom and Solomon. I think they're a great team.
Oh, absolutely. The comedy between the two of them was just spot on the entire time. It's like, did I ever you remember the time he shot me? Let me tell you about the story of the time he shot me. Well, I did crash his wife's wedding. That whole thing was fantastic.
Yeah, they have a nice dynamic, and I'm sure it'll get deeper and have more barbs traded back and forth as we go on. Did you have any feeling on the actual overall story of Leland Bray? I
love how they brought Leland Bray, somebody that Tom knew from his past life, into the conversation as a Blacklist fan, as a brand new watcher to the show. I don't know that there's this bigger mythology stuff out there. And again, I'm looking at this through the eyes of someone who knows, so I can't really commentary on this as the way I'm saying it, but I don't know if that necessarily works or not. Like, why would Tom be the one that's, oh yeah, Leland Bray, let's go get him. I know that guy. Like, there's not enough backstory about Tom for a new viewer to be like, he was could have, again, you hate the exposition beginning, but it's, Tom lost at age 4, grew up as a man with a grifter all his years kind of thing, just to set some context for a new viewer. But the concept of Leland Bray being, burned, and then this other lady coming in and going after her with the son and all of that. I think all of that worked out really, really well. The planting the bomb inside of her, I thought that was a fantastic idea.
That was a cool idea, man. That was really cool. That was like, they're going to do surgery and take a bomb out of a lady. That was pretty fun.
I was waiting for one more joke from like Ryan back to Eddie, which was like, you gave her a phone, you idiot.
That would have been funny.
That was the first thing I thought of. It's like, you're putting a radio next to a bomb. Okay, Eddie, nice job. Solomon, way to go.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I heard something click, or felt something click. overall that concept, I think that's really, really cool. The question becomes who or what, how does this tie in this overall mythology now of the Halcyon AGs, Howard Hargrave take over the company? Is this just a side job? The side jobs don't tie into the mythology, or the side jobs do have some kind of tie into the mythology? I think that's still up for debate as the show goes on.
Oh, absolutely. It's up for debate. There's a lot of cool stuff at play here. I'm kind of interested to see where it goes.
So, overall mythology of the Hargraves, interested, don't care. How do you feel about that?
Okay. You want me to be honest or
no, be honest.
Professional?
No, be honest.
I think that
you can,
I'm sick of...
You'll have a whole different opinion in 8 weeks. So
maybe. That's very possible.
Yeah,
it's very possible. I don't like the secret thing. It's just... I'm kind of curious.
Secrets are no fun.
I'm just... Man, yeah. I'm just over secrets. Like, I just want to, if you're going to make it a procedural, let's make it a procedural and let me just go along for the ride. I would love this show without that stuff because I love caper shows and I love Mission Impossible style shows. I think what it is it feels too close to the kind of secrets that Blacklist has. And it's the mother, son versus father, daughter, family business.
Yep.
That to me, it's just too close. I think, they're trying to make a connection that's a different kind of connection. So there are different kinds of secrets because they did fully acknowledge that is his mom, so at least we know that. So we don't have that debate, but I do think that part is a little, I don't like it. I would just rather have is she trying to take over the world? I think that's cool. Like whatever she's using the company for, that's a cool secret. I like that aspect, that mythology because it's different. Is she going to find out? Does she know? All that stuff. Don't care about that at all.
So the biggest thing that I wanted to see out of this show was a procedural. I wanted it to be cut and dry, leverage, straight up. And what I wanted him to do was plant the nuggets for the audience members that are Blacklist watchers. Like, here's how this ties into the overall universe, but it's not going to detract from the overall enjoyment of a new viewer to Redemption straight up. Mm-hmm. And I think they did a really, really nice job of that in 2 places in this episode. One of those was the reveal towards the end when he's with Howard in his little, spy red yarn, crazy obsessive room, if you will. When he's going through the board, 2 things are on the board. The newspaper article when Christopher disappears at age 4, that's the same age that Liz disappeared. And then on the second set of boards, it was Whitehall, ? Whitehall, 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 Whitehall. And the minute Whitehall came up, I was like, oh, that's so good, because not many people probably picked up on it. But if you remember from the episode Natalie Luca, that Whitehall is Hawthorne Biologics' bioweapons lab. Mm-hmm. So does that make Hawthorne Biologics a subsidiary of Halcyon AGs?
Maybe. Now, if you didn't watch The Blacklist, does that mean anything to you?
No, but the way they shot it, the way they presented it, you don't have to know anything about it. But if you're a Blacklist watcher, it's a cool nugget. And you could take that nugget. True. So I love the way they presented that so that the people that wanted to know got to know. And the people that are like, it's just a bunch of shit on a board, It's like...
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. It's a bunch of stuff on the board.
I like where they're going. I do like where they're going. So... I did enjoy the show. I like that we have a procedural. I don't, Blacklist, I feel like I have to watch it when it airs. I don't feel like I have to watch Redemption when it airs. Like I can watch them. They feel like one-offs, which I like. I need those shows in my life. I do. I'm just somebody, I'm very busy on the go. I like having that as an option. We've got a caper thriller. There's really not anything like that on TV right now. It does remind me of a little bit of a Leverage, and I had some issues with the Leverage pilot, but then it found its rhythm, and then it goes. And I think I'm hoping that'll happen here because I like everyone involved. I like the creators and the writers involved, and there's a lot to the first episode I really enjoyed. I just needed there's a couple things I just didn't work for me, but overall I enjoyed it.
Now, I guess the question here for you is,
Troy's question.
Given that concept, do you want to do the 8-episode binge? Or do you want to do a couple at a time, week by week?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a fair question. I can't watch it as it airs. It just because of
I'm talking
Southwest and everything else.
Week to week. To do. DVR +3 or +7, whatever. Are you a week to week episode because you're watching it with the missus because she's excited about it, or are you like, I can let 4 of them batch up and then just sit on a Saturday and watch 4 at a time?
I'll probably do that, but it's not. I would watch it within a few days of it airing if I had the time. Unfortunately, March is my busiest month of the year.
Agreed.
Honestly,
that's my issue too.
Yeah, so I'll be watching it more in batches, but I enjoyed it enough to where I would watch it. I'd throw it because I saw it's on Hulu, and I would watch it on Hulu. Absolutely.
What the hell's up with that?
Day. Why can't the Blacklist be on there?
What's up with that,
guys?
Is this Netflix deal really that stringent that we can't get Blacklist on Hulu too? I mean,
I don't know, but I was happy. I was really excited. I'm like, I can rewatch it, and I don't have to fast forward through anything. Sweet.
Yeah, no commercials is the best. The best.
Oh, it makes life good. Makes life good. I love you, Hulu.
Yeah, Hulu gets a lot of bad rap sometimes, but man, they did a lot of things right. Now, if we can just get every episode of a season in season stacking, that whole thing taken care of so that every episode is on no matter what. Because if I get 6 episodes behind, then I'm screwed because the last one drops off. Like that.
I will tell you, there are only 2 shows airing currently that I watch live, Blacklist and Walking Dead. And Walking Dead's mostly because I don't want to be spoiled on anything. Everything else, I watch on Hulu. So,
and by live, you mean same day, not same day plus 3.
I mean live as it airs, yeah.
Oh, I don't watch Walking Dead live anymore.
I do. I don't want to be spoiled. Everybody goes on the internet. Guess who died? Oh, thanks, jackass. Nope. Appreciate that.
I watch it same day within the 24-hour period, but I also
even Entertainment Weekly does that. What the hell's up with that? I can't believe this character died, and then they have a picture of that character like every week.
Don't go on the internet.
Yeah, that's my problem. I should stay off the internet.
That's right.
I'm the asshole.
It's bad for you anyway. Read a book. So overall, Redemption, we're saying solid B.
Yes, I would say solid B. Give Solomon more screen time. Yep. Bump it up to an A. Give Famke more to do, even more, and make Tom smile and laugh a little bit more.
Yeah, Scotty a little bit more like she was in her episode in the Blacklist. I think would be a nice add, and yeah, definitely.
Do you think any of that is like a factor of it's been a while since they did that episode, so she's trying to get back into that character, or it was just a matter of how it was written?
She was there in that first scene. It was there, and it just the rest of it was like, oh, Howard, I missed you. It's like, I know you got to sell it because you're trying to tell a lie, but
if she's telling a lie, we don't know that for a fact.
She's telling a lie. She was lying through her teeth.
Maybe.
Didn't believe a damn word of what you said.
Maybe.
You had a beautiful mind. See, she's even quoting the thing.
Lord, mercy. The thing. She's quoting the thing. Yeah. The John Carpenter's The Thing? Because I don't think I heard that. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Blacklist GSM, where we live tweet during the East Coast feed, and we use the show's hashtag The Blacklist. Do want to point out, Redemption, we will not be doing that. It's not any indication of the show. It's just we are gone.
We're gone. So we'll try to be out there. If we're watching it, we'll tweet. If we're not there, it's because we're busy.
Yes, but keep an eye on the Facebook group because we will be talking about it a lot there.
Yeah, we'll still put up a spoiler post every Thursday so you guys can chat and share your thoughts because we want to collect those for the big April 15th Blacklist Redemption podcast episode. So definitely keep chatting out there. And don't forget to follow us on Tumblr, Instagram, and join that Facebook group. Don't just peek in. Definitely come be part of the community. Just search for The Blacklist Exposed. Talk about the show, the podcast, or what kind of drink you like. If you're a Scotch person, gin person, Jack and Coke, whatever you want. Just let us know what you're drinking so we can toast. Spring break's coming up.
Jack and Diet would be my choice.
Yep.
Did I tell you I was at a restaurant the other day and I ordered a Jack and Diet? It was like this upscale. I was there for a business dinner. And it was like this upscale restaurant. And trust me, I'm not upscale. I am Joe Average. I prefer to go to a dive bar. I just think the more interesting people are there. So, but I'm here anyway. And I'm like, can I get a Jack and Diet? Oh, we don't have Jack Daniels.
What?
Okay. Well, A, why not? Okay, it's America. And we only have this is what she says. We only have upscale whiskey. And I'm like, oh, well, can you upscale my ass to Jack Daniels? Because that's my kind of drink. And we don't have. Well, fine, get me whatever's closest then. It wasn't even close.
No.
It tasted like it cost more. That's all it did.
It sure did.
Man,
burn your throat, put you in a hospital.
Yeah. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or listen from the website. But if you are really on the go, make sure, like Dembe. Oh, Dembe. Make sure you download our app for iOS or Android, powered by Spreaker. You can also find all the intel and analysis about this episode for the Apothecary by visiting theblacklistexposed.com. Big thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to answer our profiling question, which was, do you believe it was Dembe? And if you want to know more about who killed Mr. Body, it was me. in the hall with the revolver. Take us away, Troy. Now I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
April 15th, we'll be back. And don't forget, April 22nd at C2E2. We'll see you there. Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinritz. That's at Troy Heinritz on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinritz.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsiders.com or on Twitter at H_outsider. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.